In the gym and in the car, with our advice you could go far. We fuck things up and we make mistakes, and talk about our sexy dates. We host events and go to clubs, but most of all we're still in love. It's getting hard for this to rhyme, just as well 'cause it's bed hopping time. Hello and welcome to the Bed Hoppers podcast. My name's Mr. H.
I'm Mrs. H.
Thank you for joining us today. This is episode 161. At least I think it is.
Okay. I mean, that's fine.
Good. Well, it's been a long few weeks. So we wanted to get down, record. Well, actually, we didn't. We delayed recording as much as we could. We didn't really have any energy left after the last few weeks because we had the Hot Summer's Night event. Look at me getting the name right. How amazing is that? Followed by our Going Dutch event.
Yes.
And
double events.
And then we've had about 3 days since we've come back from that. And we're a bit fucked.
We are so tired.
We are a bit knackered. And it's a busy weekend coming up. You've got a Pokemon festival or something.
Oh my God. Can I just take a minute to talk about my Pokemon Fest?
Yes, but literally a minute.
No, I'm going to have half a podcast for this.
No, you're not. Do it. Talk about it.
I am going to a very exciting event. Look at you looking at me. Are you asleep already?
I know.
Okay, so I'm going to Pokemon Go Fest. All right, so this is a global event and it's held once a year. During COVID times, they had to make it virtual because they couldn't congregate in large groups in towns and parks and the like. So I missed out on Pokemon Go Fest for 2 years in a row. Not that I'm bitter or anything. And so this is the first one I have attended in person. And this is the one that's in London.
Yep.
I'm not going to say where it is because it's a location is only made known to those ticket holders, although it's probably as common knowledge you can find it. Anyway, it is in London and it's going to be bloody brilliant. There's also one in Japan, I think Osaka, and there's maybe one in America, and there's obviously one in London. The last one escapes me, but it's nowhere near me. Maybe someone like San Diego. Anyway, this is very exciting because it's where all of the poker nerds unite and congregate in London. Mm-hmm. It's a 3-day event. Not that I'm going for 3 days.
We're not promoting this event.
I'm saying how exciting and what a big deal it is, right? It's a 3-day event. I'm only going on a Saturday.
Okay.
And you get like special things, special bonuses are unlocked, all sorts of like things you can do. But basically, I'm going to have 7 hours of Pokemon.
There we go.
And I couldn't be more excited.
You're very, very excited.
I bought a bag for it, bought T-shirts.
What is cracking me up is that you don't want me hanging around while you're doing this.
No, you are not coming anywhere near my bloody event.
Because I don't play Pokemon.
No,
and
you will not be welcome, sir.
No, so you're depositing me at Secret Stag and Secret Vixen's house.
Damn right I am.
So that I can stay there and be entertained.
I am optimising my experience by removing you from my experience because you don't want any part of my little Pokemon world.
I really don't.
So bugger off you.
Thank you. I hope you have a delightful time. By the time this episode comes out, you'll already have done it and you'll be the biggest
like a Pokemon
master or something. I don't know, whatever it is. Anyway, that's what you're really excited about. I'm really excited to tell people about our Going Dutch event and how it went and a little bit about some of the information and some of the clubs.
I did play Pokemon over there as well.
You did play a lot of Pokemon while you were there. So firstly, before we delve into it, I want to say a huge thank you to Kate and Daryl.
Of course.
From the Wanderlust Swingers, because as much as this was advertised as the two of our podcasts combining, I think this is 120% Kate's organisation.
I mean, we were there.
Helps. But when we turned up. But yeah, absolutely everything was done via the power of Kate. And she did an incredible job. There was so much that we did, so much that we saw. It was fabulous. So huge shout out to them. We can't take any of this credit whatsoever.
I was going to take a bit of it.
Okay, take a small amount of credit then, wife.
I'm going to take like 3%.
Okay, great. Perfect. But they did a fantastic job, and she especially did a great job in organising everything.
Yay.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the trip itself and kind of some of the stuff that we got up to. We're not going to talk about any of the rude times or any of the naughty times in this episode.
No.
We may talk about that at a later date. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But we
Is
really
that because they're too rude?
Maybe something like that. So,
But we had rude times.
we did have rude times.
We're not going to talk about them now.
No, not now.
Right.
But anyway, so we went to Amsterdam. We flew out, and the whole trip was a get there on the Friday afternoon, and then leave on Monday afternoon at some point, right?
Yeah.
So we had that whole weekend with, I don't know how many people, was it 14, 16 people, I think?
I'm going to say 14.
Okay. I'm glad your ability to count
Arbitrary
is better than
number
mine. Arbitrary.
that is between 11 and 20. I think it was 14.
And it was a really, really wonderful group.
Yeah.
Everyone was really friendly. Everyone had amazing stories, and everyone was really enthusiastic about being there and having a great time, which was awesome.
Some we hadn't met before.
Some we hadn't met. Some people we did.
Some
did
new
know.
friends
Some
now.
new friends, which was fantastic to meet them. But what I really loved is our first activity. So we get off the plane and immediately met by Kate and Daryl. We're staying in an Airbnb, which was lovely. They'd organised all of this. And then we went and met everybody on a boat trip.
Yeah.
So
we also had wine.
Oh, we had wine. Some wine was
in between
consumed.
getting off the plane and going to the boat, we had some wine, which was bloody lovely as well.
Well, we sort of had a little sort of pre-drink, which is lovely.
Yeah, because we're not monsters.
Oh, not monsters at all. But actually, the great bit was that chilled us down and chilled us out after having the journey across and getting through the airport and the trains and all this and hiking our cases across Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And we got to the boat, and it was this delightful little canal boat, and we had unlimited sort of drinks in there. They were continuously topping up the drinks, and we met all the people that were coming along. That was fabulous.
There's some music.
Had some music.
Pizza.
And yeah, pizza got delivered to the boat.
Brilliant.
That was literally a Domino's
great.
pizza.
Yeah, I loved
over
it.
the side. It was great.
Gluten-free for me, of course, because I'm sad.
Obviously, but you were very defensive and protective over your pizza.
2 people tried to touch my pizza and I probably nearly eviscerated them.
I think that's fair.
Be gone. Leave my gluten-free pizza in all its sadness because you have your own gluten pizza over there.
Exactly that. And then after that, we went out and went for a few drinks and got to know everyone better.
Yeah, nice little cocktail bar.
And some wandering around Amsterdam. It was a really lovely evening.
Yes, it really was.
And what I really liked is that you could just chop and change and chat to different people, and everyone was really relaxed and having a really good time and really open and welcoming. So I felt like it was like a really nice introduction to our group for part of the weekend.
Agreed. Very late night, always.
Quite a late night, which may have been a slight mistake, for the next day we had some travelling.
Also, we did get lost a bit because, you with me and I always get lost.
Well, that is true. So where do we go on the first day, official day?
On the first day, I think we went to Rotterdam. I could be lying. That could be Sunday. We went somewhere.
Was it not the big open market, not open market, but the big indoor market thing?
Yes, that
and
was
the
Rotterdam.
Carnival.
Yeah, that was Rotterdam.
It just said carnival. And the
it was
carnival.
like a street carnival, Mardi Gras type thing.
They have a huge parade. And it just so happens that we were there. I can only assume that Kate arranged this parade purely for us.
Well done, you.
Well done, Kate. It was absolutely fantastic. Loads of people had dressed up and all these
Like
bright
bumblebees.
colours, and there was lots of different themes and floats, and
It was
there was
amazing.
people
I
playing
felt
jazz.
so sorry for them because it was raining.
It was tipping it
little
down.
soggy little bumblebees marching around.
So we saw a little bit of this as we were sort of coming in there, and then we went into this huge sort of enclosed market space, which was really fantastic.
It's like 3 or 4 levels, and there's probably over 100 food vendors in there, I think, of all different things. So every different variety of cuisine you can think of. There was a little stall in there that sold something. Like there was a Greek place, and there was a pickled herring place. There was some frozen yogurts. There was cocktails. There were desserts. It was just so vast. You wouldn't struggle to find anything that you liked, if you wandered around enough.
And I think we had some really wonderful food there. I had a shredded duck burger thing that was
amazing,
incredible.
Wasn't it?
And it was really nice just to hang around with those folks a bit more, chill out, experience some of the culture, chat to different people. I really enjoyed that little bit of the tour. And then, of course, as we came out, we walked pretty much straight into the parade and spent a good half an hour walking down the road, having a look at this. And then it was amazing. It was really colourful and bright. Yeah. And actually, it was just a really sort of nice cultural experience of the place.
Beautiful.
That night was our first club night.
Mm-hmm. Fun4Two.
Fun4Two, which we've been to before.
Yes, we have.
So Fun4Two, that's in, I want to say Moordrecht. But
Wow,
please
you're good.
excuse my pronunciation and any details I've written down because they could be completely and utterly wrong. But it's not that far from Amsterdam, realistically.
No, not really. But there's a really handy hotel, like situated about 15 minutes drive from the club, and they do like little shuttle buses backwards and forwards. So it's really easy to get to, isn't it?
Yeah, what I like, we got to the hotel and again, we just chilled out and had some drinks, and then we played some Heads Up. That's always amusing, and we were doing Marvel and we were doing Harry Potter. All this is irrelevant, really, but it was just, I think what I really loved about this whole trip, and I'll probably bang on about it a lot, was just how chilled out and how it was the right group. It was absolutely lovely just to chat to people, have some fun, have a laugh, and that was cool.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
And there was
part.
no pressure to stay with the group. If you wanted to wander off for an hour and do your own thing, you could. But, by and large, we all kind of met back up again quite regularly, didn't we?
Yeah. So Fun4Two, I mean, we've described it before on a previous podcast. We went there for New Year's Eve, but it's a gigantic sprawling place full of tiny stairs, loads of lockers there. There's like a whole wet area with a huge hot tub.
Beautiful wet
There's
area.
a tantric area. There's all sorts of themed rooms in there.
Yeah, it was nice to see it not on a New Year's Eve kind of thing, because I think the decor was a little bit different from what I remember anyway. It was all done up a little bit differently for New Year's Eve with like lots of...
I don't think it was massively different.
It was a bit more... I think it was more themed around like some glam things.
I think the New Year's Eve party was a little bit more sort of Moulin Rouge sort of thing. But to be fair, the place feels a little Moulin Rouge anyway. So I think there was just a few extras. But actually, what I really liked, it wasn't absolutely jam-packed like it was on New Year's Eve. It was still very busy.
It was still busy, yeah.
And there was still a lot of people in there. But actually, it was really cool because we all managed to get in. And I think apart from Kate and Dal, I'm not sure anyone else, maybe a Dutch couple had been there before. And we all just went straight away for something to eat.
Yeah.
And that was really funny because we were just staking out our tables. And then, for some reason, you chose to eat something that might have gluten in it.
I chose poorly.
You did choose poorly.
Well, yes. And I remember they had this like buffet type offering where you could go and help yourself to various things. And I thought I was being clever by opting for like a steak casserole, but just eating the steak in it. Turns out that was a poor choice because there must have been wheat in it somewhere. But it was a mild attack. I coped and I got over it. It's fine.
So then we were able to go around and do a bit of a tour with everybody.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Which is cool because it's such a fun place because it's got all these like themed rooms. There's like a little village. There's little offshoots, little sparkly rooms. It was really cool. And I think it was really nice for everyone else to experience the club and sort of see it through their eyes as well. And also remember some of the stuff. I was actually amazed at how much I remembered despite our sort of
it all came flooding back to me. I love the fact that it has, and I appreciate this, I might be leaping ahead with wild abandon to your what's great about the club, but actually what was great about the club is the fact that the drinks are all inclusive. And so when you'll find that the bar was never particularly rammed. And I think that's because there's a steady flow of you can just get what you need rather than I better buy loads of drinks at once.
Well, also the bar were on it. They are super efficient. You'd go up and ask for 6 drinks and they'd be instantly there with the 6 drinks.
Yeah, it's so easy.
And I really like that. I also really like the fact actually on the night you were able to, it was just like a grill going on and you could just get a big bit of steak, slab it on the grill, watch it for 10 minutes and off you go with your nice freshly grilled bit of meat, which was delicious.
Really
and a really nice kind of way of leading into all of this. I think, so we had a marvellous night there. We stayed very, very late and the shuttle bus I think picked us up at 4.
Like maybe 10 to 4 is so late. And there was me earlier in the evening thinking, man, I'm fucked already. I do not want, not from drinking, just from fatigue. And I really don't want to super late night. And I'm sure we'll wind up by 2 o'clock because, why wouldn't we? No, 4 a.m. Of course. Why wouldn't we be? We were like one of the last to leave, I think. And it was a really like, oh my God, that journey back. We were all so tired, weren't we?
We were a bit. One of the things we did see, there is a mandatory dress down. There's a bit of music that comes on.
Yeah, I still can't identify the music.
We don't know which bit of music it is, but around about 11 o'clock, people get dressed down and then they come out in their underwear and their shorts and whatever. And that was absolutely fine. I think it's quite an unusual thing, but once you get your head around it, it's not a problem.
I actually have no issue with the dress down policy. I think the difficulty I have is if you don't get there till about 10, maybe. I mean, if you get there a bit early in the evening, great. But if you don't get there till like 10, half 10, and then dress down is kind of mandatory from around about 11ish, you kind of feel like, oh man, I've only been wearing my outdoor clothes for half an hour and now I've got to take them off again, which is fine. But you could get there a bit earlier, I guess, if you wanted. But that was the only bit that I thought, oh God, I've only just put this on.
Well, one thing did surprise me a little bit, actually, having seen how dressed up people were for New Year's Eve. And of course, that is New Year's Eve, but there was a few people sort of wandering around in T-shirts and sort of polo shirts and trainers and stuff. And whilst there weren't that many, there were enough to make me think, oh, okay, they're not so hot up on the dress code. The information on the site is very hot up on the dress code. But actually, once you,
it's like, do not wear these things.
And that's the thing, because you get nervous about, because you're in another country, because you've only got the clothes that you've brought with you. So if it's not right, then what do you do? And especially when you're going late at night, there's nothing around that area.
No.
So you're stuffed. But actually, they were fine. They let everybody in. It was no problem. The checking in process was great. Indeed, Kate had organised much of that. So that was really cool. And it was a really lovely night. And I think what we'll do is we'll talk a little bit about the other club and then maybe talk about what we liked about each and which one was our favourite and then knife fight it out. Yeah?
Knife fight it?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm a very passive individual, have you know?
I don't believe that for a moment. But anyway, so the next day we were up not super early, which was good for once.
We made it down and had breakfast.
Breakfast on time. And then we went to Yowder, Gouda.
I'm going to say, but it was probably completely wrong. But
yeah, I mean...
we would say Gouda, like cheese, but it's Gouda, I think.
And again, we had our own sort of little minibus thing that was awesome, brand new. That was cool, took us there. But really, I think because we were just so fucking tired at this point and we were conscious that we had a party to go to,
Another
a pool party at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, that we just wanted to sit down and caffeinate. And we needed to get you some food because we weren't sure about the gluten-free options.
You make me sound really needy.
Well, I think... food was certainly one of the things that cropped up on the trip, and it was really important. One, you get fucking hangry.
Oh, I know.
And that distorts a lot of things for you. Yeah. But also, I think there's I don't want you to be poorly. And that's why we sort of on the first night out, I was like, why the fuck did you eat that? Because it's it's a stew thing. It obviously has flour as a thickener in there.
I know.
And I think part of this journey that we've been on with your dietary needs has been sort of figuring out what works and what doesn't. The problem is, I think after 2 drinks, you're like, hey, I love that shit. Give me it all. No.
There's that, but there's also an element of I hate bringing attention to the fact that this thing exists, and I don't want to be everyone having to work around me and trying to navigate me. I just try and fade away into the background with it, and I probably take risks I shouldn't, because I don't want to be that one saying, oh, hey, there's nothing for me here.
Oh, bless you.
So I end up making silly choices, for one, or not eating at all because there's nothing that's safe, and I don't want to feel poorly because I eat the wrong thing. So the flip side is I don't eat enough of anything else, and then, it all unravels from there. But certainly they're not really geared up for celiac diets, I'll say that. But lots of places aren't.
Lots of the places were. In fact, many of the restaurants and stuff were pretty good.
Oh, restaurants, yeah.
But the actual clubs obviously aren't catering towards
a lot
of dietary
Neither
requirements.
would I expect them to.
And it's so interesting because you don't expect to go to a club and then have a sort of meal and then wander around or whatever. So it is quite a different culture to get yourself around.
It's fine.
So after we went to Howder, we then went to a hotel, and then pretty much we had an hour to get changed. And then before we knew it, we were at Fata Morgana.
Yeah.
Which apparently means mirage in Italian, but I'm not sure I believe that.
Why don't you believe it?
Because I read it on Google.
Google speaks the truth.
And not always. Anyway, so this is a club that's not that far away from Amsterdam.
Yeah.
It's a lot more modern, sleek. It's got...
Is it a newer club?
I think it's a newer club. I imagine it is.
Yeah.
But it certainly feels like it's been done up. It's very lit in a very modern way. It's kind of got lots of lights. It's got lots of sort of feature walls, lots of really nicely decorated spaces. It's less, I think it's less quirky than the previous one, but it also feels a lot more sort of new and
it's ultra modern compared to Fun4Two. Yeah.
I mean, it's got more IKEA furniture in it than IKEA had, to be fair. But
It's some very, very big open sort of communal areas, really, really big, loads of seating, like tons of seats knocking around in all those areas.
So we had a bit of a tour first. Well, actually, we didn't.
No, we went and had food.
We went and had food first. Not that you give a shit as to which way round it was, but, from our own memory, we went and had some food. Now, this was Sunday lunchtime food.
And I struggled with this one because there really wasn't anything I could have.
No, it was a real difficult one for you, I think, because there just wasn't the selection available.
It was like pastas, brilliant, couldn't have that. Nachos, nope, couldn't have those. It was all pretty gluteny stuff. So I was like, I had some ice cream.
And a tiny bit of salad
because that's all it really was. But
which I think it certainly influenced the rest of the day.
It did, unfortunately for me. But that's me. And if I went back again, which I absolutely would love to go back again, I would just make sure I take some safe food with me.
Some safe food. Well, that's probably a good shout. Or eat before you go. But then the thing was, because this was in the afternoon, it felt really strange going into a sex club, like in the middle of the afternoon. And we were there for an Ibiza-style pool party, but there really weren't very many people in the club. To be fair, the weather wasn't great. It was kind of
Ibiza.
It certainly wasn't Ibiza weather, and it was kind of intermittently sunny and then cloudy and then sunny and then spot of rain and then sunny again.
Probably didn't draw the crowds in, did it?
It wasn't super warm. I'm going to put that out there. However, we get out there and there's a few couples out and about in this pool area because it's got a nice little pool that is not heated. That I found out as I stripped down, got bare naked and jumped into the pool.
See, babe, I knew it wasn't going to be heated because why would it be?
Well,
and I was like, I am not choosing that pool. I'm going to sit here on the side on a really nice comfy bed and remain not undressed, but I was happy in my area.
So it's quite interesting in that sort of the group that was sort of hanging around with us sort of split into each partner sort of split into two sections.
Yeah.
Some were on the bed just staying warm.
Yeah, me and Secret Vixen we knew 100% we were not getting in that cold pool.
And some of us more insane people were in the pool and stayed there throughout the course of the time. Now, one of the really cool things about this particular club is that they not only have a bar, and much like Fun4Two, you can just go up and drinks are included. And that includes some cocktails,
ticket price,
all sorts of different drinks and stuff. But there was also a little self-service area.
Was it self-service or was it just unmanned and you decided to go and help yourself?
Well, I'm sure someone said that it was self-service, so I can only assume that it was self-service. I mean, there was like a whole fucking apple pie that you could just help yourself to.
An apple pie?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
There was just an apple pie in there?
Not in that bit, but as you come through the couples area.
Oh, yeah.
There was
actually.
and refrigerators with loads of different drinks in that you could just help yourself to. It was all really cool.
Yeah.
However, one of the mistakes I may have made was allowing other people, Secret Vixen, I'm looking at you, and
she had some help,
and Max from Max and Mabel, to go and make me a drink. So they made me a Negroni, which is my favourite drink.
To be fair to them, they asked me in advance, we would like to make him a Negroni. Right, I said. This how can this go wrong? There are 3 things in a Negroni and they are all equal parts of the thing.
So I get back.
That is it.
Half a pint.
Don't deviate from that and you'll be fine.
Half a pint of just orange looking stuff. And to be fair, tasted fine. It was very fucking strong though.
Yeah.
And the reason it was strong is because they'd done the 3 measurements.
Like I said.
Like you said. And they were like, it doesn't look like much of a drink. So Secret Vixen allegedly said, why don't we just top it up with gin?
Good grief. Yeah, no, that's exactly what happened.
So I think it's safe to say that as a result of that, I was a little bit on it throughout the course of the day and into the evening. Now, one of the things that we did know is actually that the club was going to close at 10. Now, ordinarily they keep it going, but because it was so quiet, they said, okay, at 10 o'clock, we're going to shut it down and you've got until then to enjoy your day. So talking about some of the stuff that was in there. So there was this pool, this outside pool area with loads of sunbeds, the help yourself bar. There were a couple of the main area was sort of like a little bar with disco sort of dancing section with seats around. But what I really liked is there was a couples area right next to it that was all glassed off. So you could get the vibe and the sort of distant sound of the disco and the music.
Yeah.
But actually, you could go in there and have a decent conversation.
Yeah, I liked the fact that it had, it wasn't pumping music and renders conversation impossible.
Yeah. Now, inside there was a giant hot tub, which was lovely.
Oh, that was huge.
Really warm.
Lovely.
And then a really nice bed next to it, which I thought was great.
It reminded me a little bit of VA, actually, that area.
Yeah, it's kind of got
that.
It
had a very long kind of a room that's pretty much filled by a long hot tub and then all the beds around it. So it really reminded me of that. It's really nicely done, I thought.
Yeah, really fucking hot, that area. Like, because the hot tub is very hot.
Very hot.
But as a result, all the steam is in that room and it is kind of, it's quite overwhelming after a bit.
Yeah.
There's also like a sauna kind of thing in there, I think, in that sort of section.
Yeah, off to the side there was a sauna. I didn't go in there. It looked too hot.
So there's some play areas downstairs and there are a whole bunch of play areas upstairs as well.
Oh, tons
Loads
of
of little rooms and from...
erotic playrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all sort of... almost most of them seem to be sort of wildlife and jungle themed, which is great because we were wearing animal print as we walked around and pretty much blended into everything.
And Secret Vixen was wearing a kind of jungly print dress. So between us, we were like, we could just camouflage like in here, press ourselves against the walls and no one will ever see us.
So there is a dark room in there as well.
I didn't like that.
Holy crap, that was
dark.
Very, very dark.
Didn't like it.
It was to the point where you could just blend into the walls and no one would know if you were in there at all.
Yeah.
And in fact, Secret Vixen fell over a bed at one point.
Yeah, apparently he punched her in the face.
Well, I tried to catch her because from the glove I'll watch, I could see, this is just while we were doing the tour. As she fell over, I tried to reach out and grab her. Unfortunately, I couldn't see what I was grabbing at and pretty much punched her in the face.
This is why I don't like dark rooms.
Yeah, that's
one of the reasons I don't like dark rooms.
One of the many reasons you don't like
dark rooms. But the rooms I thought were terrific. They had... Most of them are really good size, I think.
Yep.
There was a couple of smaller ones, but, you know, we could probably just fit a couple of people and it'd be a bit of a squeeze. There were a couple of like much bigger rooms, but for the most part, they were a double bed sized with lots of like things on the walls, like little bins and little bowls of things. And yeah, as you say, lovely decor, really beautifully lit. And they had like themes like tantric and like Buddhas and all sorts of like lovely things decorating all the areas.
The playrooms felt it's a little bit difficult to describe. Not as modern, but I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean they were more specifically designed to be more chilled out, less angular, and less sort of like IKEA based. They were much more sort of sensual and erotic, and they had that sort of red velvet and leafy tones and all that sort of stuff. I'm waving my hands around trying to sensually caress the air, but you can't see that, gentle listener. But it was definitely a really nice vibe throughout the rooms.
Like massagey type things. And you know, but I was quite surprised to see the style of those compared to, as you say, like the clean linear sort of neon look downstairs. It was really quite different.
Yeah.
Yeah. But loads of them as well. And you just like, it was like a labyrinthian kind of like winding upstairs. And there was so many rooms.
And much like Fun4Two, there were plenty of lockers, plenty of secure spaces. You get a little band with a key on it. That was cool. So actually, I really liked the place.
Oh, I know what I really loved about the place.
Was it the ice cream? Was it the little ice cream stand?
The only thing I could eat. No, it wasn't. It was the fact that it was so well labelled. And because the place was so big, it would have been really easy to really lose your orientation as you're walking around. And although they all kind of double...
If I could easily use my orientation, you'd have sent me through there a few times.
Yes, well, we know how much I get lost.
Yes.
And I found it really helpful that on every sort of corner, there was a big sign with all of the sort of what's in this direction and what's back in the other direction with big arrows everywhere. And I was like, I am so reassured I'm going the wrong way now. Like, I need to follow this sign and go the other way. But I found that really helpful.
The signage was really good. In fact, actually, as you're driving into the place, you see it announces that you're coming to Fata Morgana, and it says something along the lines of like sexual liberal club or something
Lifestyle
like this.
Club or something,
And you must see this sign about 7 times along the way, different variants of it. So there's no doubt that where you are and what you're going for. And the entrance is nice. There's a space outside where we took some pictures. They've gone onto
it's like a nice
X
banner
or
thing.
Twitter or whatever the fuck we're calling it these days. But actually, it was a really good night. I really liked it.
Yeah, I did.
Now, what I would say is like, how do you compare the two? What's your favourite point of Fata?
For my first question is, are they similarly priced? Because I don't know.
I think so.
Okay, so for the amount of money, they're roughly the same
for the
level
roughly bang for buck, it's about the same, yeah. And drinks and food are included.
In both?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I first went to Fun4Two, I think one of the things I was most intrigued about was this concept of you get full dinner. And I know we experienced that in Trapeze when we went to Fort Lauderdale previously. And again, that concept was very new to me because we just don't have that over here at all. It's not a concept that I'm at all familiar with. And whilst it's nice to have some food before you go out, when you sort of put the two things together and go, hey, why don't we have a 3-course buffet before we go and play in the playrooms? You're like, huh? How is that going to work? Because who wants to roll around after having like loads of food? But actually, I love the concept of going out and having some dinner in a really lovely setting with everything included. And you don't have to worry about finding somewhere near the venue and booking a table somewhere. It's all there.
Yeah.
I love that. And I really wish some of the UK clubs would adopt the same kind of level of hospitality because I think it was lovely.
I think British people would abuse it.
Oh my goodness.
Free drinks
You're
at the
probably
bar.
right.
I mean,
I don't know. I didn't feel like I had to drink to excess because I wanted to get my money's worth for an all-inclusive ticket. I actually just felt really reassured that I didn't have to worry about bringing any money with me. I didn't have to worry about looking for anywhere to eat beforehand because everything was in the club. And I really like that. And it's nice to sit with the people you've gone with and have dinner with them.
No, I did really enjoy that. And both clubs do that. I think the Fun4Two probably has the better dining setting.
I agree.
I think the Fata Morgana one is it feels a little bit canteeny at work.
It did, I agree. Almost like you're going to grab some lunch before you get the meeting.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that. And to be fair, though, I mean, when we got there wasn't much in the way of food available because they hadn't put out the evening stuff.
I wonder if that's because it was the Sunday daytime and there would have been. Because there were loads of empty things, weren't there?
Yeah, there was space available for the evening ones. Through a mysterious, unfortunate series of events, we did not have the evening meal.
Sad times.
I know, sad times.
Alas.
And I'm sure that'll come into a conversation that we'll have on the podcast at some point or other. However, we did not experience the evening meals, but it did have
like
labels.
It had a bit more.
It had a bit more, but whether the lunchtime ones are taken away or not, who knows? I didn't experience that.
Either way, the setting, you're right. I think Fun4Two had the nicer dinner setting because it felt like more of an integral part of the club. There were nice little lampshades, red lighting, and it was overlooking the kind of dance area. It was a really lovely little setup, I thought, in Fun4Two.
I think Fun4Two has that sort of almost like a Moulin Rouge sort of Paris style.
Yeah, it really does.
And because you're kind of, it's kind of old chic in a way, and you're all sort of crammed in there. But you overlook the disco area, and you can see the sea of people. Whereas in Fata Morgana, actually, you can see the bar and you can see a little bit of the dance area, but not too much. But because of the furnishings, because it's got that ultra modern sort of neon lights, it probably has colour changing lights or whatever, it did feel a bit like a work canteen with the lights turned down a bit.
I'll be honest, when I was in Fata, I kind of felt like I was in a John Wick movie. When I was downstairs.
There is that vibe of some like we've burst into some sort of Russian mafia club night.
Bit.
Yeah.
Didn't feel so much like I was in John Wick movie in Fun4Two. I felt more like I was in Moulin Rouge.
And I think this is the thing between the two clubs for me. I think Fun4Two probably has a bit more charm, quirkiness. It has more lethal steps, but it's in an older building.
Yeah.
And it feels a bit more well-worn, but loved.
Yeah,
it's
well
kind
loved.
Of well loved. That's how I sort of feel about it. There's certainly, there is a death trap around every staircase because they are so, steep and thin stairs and whatever. But actually coming over to see Fata Morgana and feeling the sort of very modern stuff, it was quite a difference. I like it. And if that was our local club, I'd be fucking over the moon.
Oh my
Don't
God,
get me wrong. But it was just it just didn't feel quite as loved. I think that's the only way I can really describe it.
Yeah, I would agree. It didn't have as much personality for me as Fun4Two. If I had to choose a favourite one, it'd be Fun4Two.
But
I liked the feel of. I love the little model Amsterdam village in Fun4Two. That little, it looks amazing, and I just like the feel of it, the ambience.
what I will say though is actually there is a lot to like about Fata Morgana.
Yeah.
Got to keep referring to it. This is because I'm like, which one is which? I really
The John
liked
Wick place.
the John Wick place. It was, like you say, it was well labelled. It was really slick. The service was as good, although
it's great.
but there weren't as many people. And I think it's really hard to give it a proper evaluation because it was a little bit empty that day. In fact, pretty much wherever our crowd went was the busiest place because we were probably the biggest unit in there.
Yeah, I wonder what it is like on a heaving Saturday night kind of thing. And
Heathens Saturday night.
I feel maybe, I don't know if that'd be a better experience because there's way more people in there, but everything would feel more densely populated, and that'd probably get my nerves actually. I really welcomed the fact that it had a bit of breathing space especially because it was Sunday and I was tired. I think I probably welcomed that quieter experience.
I think actually, had it been a sunny day out there,
might have been a lot busier.
It would have been busier. I would have thought.
I would have thought so too.
But I think it would have been quite banging. There was due to be like a Ibiza party DJ, and the DJ didn't show up, so it was just their naff tunes that they were playing. I was like, can I take over on Spotify? No. And I think maybe with that sort of atmosphere, as much as I hate dance music, I cannot explain to you how much I fucking hate dance music.
I know you do.
But at least that would have amped up the atmosphere. I think that would have, but not that the atmosphere was bad. It was just a little flat because it was
just quieter,
a bit damp and a bit quiet, and then it went sunny for a bit, and then we were in a pool that was like -3 degrees or whatever it was.
You were in a pool.
Well, I was in a pool.
I was very sensible. I stayed in the sunny bit, but when it was there on the bed, and it was perfectly lovely.
I think if you were to go to the Netherlands and you were going to go to a club, I would say that probably Fun4Two is the one that I'd say if
I could only go to one, that's one I'd go to.
That's probably the one I'd go to. But I would, if you get the chance, I would say 100% go to both.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And if you did a Friday and a Saturday, or if you did the pool party on the Sunday, I think that would be a really, really fun experience. And I think it's going to depend. What you would pick would depend on the style that you like. And if you like that sort of modern, very sort of angular, very sharp experience as in terms of decor or decor, whichever one you like, then Fata Morgana is probably the one for you. I imagine it probably draws a slightly younger crowd, but I can't back that up at all.
No, we didn't see.
But Fun4Two, if you like it a bit more quirky, if you like it's a little bit more like I found like penthouse playrooms and that sort of
had that vibe,
lots of different rooms, lots of different little spaces and nooks and crannies, and it felt like it had charming and it had a bit more character,
a bit eclectic.
Yeah, it could also, I think, if you're a bit judgmental in that way, we've all been a bit judgmental before, it can feel a bit worn and a bit old and a little bit tired. But I think there's a real charm to it.
On the downside, I would say it was hot as balls in there.
Well,
my goodness, it was hot.
I got overheated on both nights, I think.
Oh, I know, but you could at least escape some of the heat in Fata Morgana because there were some bigger open spaces where you could retreat to and find some air-conditioned areas, and you could also go outside. Whereas Fun4Two, it was really hot, and you had to I really struggled to find like the cooler areas, and especially the playroom that we ended up in was like, oh my days, I don't think I've ever been this hot in my life.
I don't think we could stand up in that playroom though, or at least certain parts of it. There was no option to stand up. So we were all sort of like almost...
I have to lie down.
Yeah, we're all going to have to lie down on top of each other. How terrible for us. But I think both experiences were really
both
good.
Terrific. I loved both the clubs. I will say that. I'm just being asked to choose a favourite. My opinion is I just about prefer the vibe of Fun4Two, just from a personal preference of how it was laid out and the decor, and just. But also, if you want to feel like you're in a John Wick movie, then great, yeah. If you want to run around in a black suit, I think that would be great.
What I did quite like though is that outside in the pool area, everyone just chilled out. And I think that really helped generate a nice sort of atmosphere.
It was pretty sexy out there, actually. A lot of people just like getting it on.
Yeah, and that was really nice to watch while my balls were literally freezing off me.
Yeah, but it's quite nice when things like that are just so normalised that you could actually just talk to the people that are just randomly having sex at the same time as having a conversation with you. But, oh, hey, yeah, you're from the UK. This is interesting. Like casually thrusting away next to you.
Well, it was cool, though. We met some listeners there.
Oh, yes, we did.
That was amazing.
Absolutely.
Hello, folks. How you doing? There we go.
They might listen to this episode.
They might do. They might not do. Who knows? But anyway, it was lovely to meet you.
It was. Absolutely.
You know who you are. Covered loads of bases in that one. So I think, at the end of we went to the 2 Club on the Monday. It was very much a recoup and sort of get ourselves into Amsterdam Central. We managed to sit down and you managed to have a pancake. A gluten-free pancake.
But oh my face when she said we can make a gluten-free one, I must have looked so happy.
You did.
Because I was up to that point, I was really getting like, oh no, it's me again with my special diets and not knowing where to go. But we went in and we can make you a gluten-free one.
Perfect.
Happy days.
There we go. Rounded off.
So happy with that.
The weekend perfectly.
It was lovely.
So
I had an amazing weekend. I really did. It was just what I needed.
Honestly, I think because we've spoken before about some of the stuff that's been going on at home.
And that's still going on.
And that's still going on and we're still struggling through every day. And we were very fortunate in that we were able to go away for a few days, but it was also very needed. But I think the difficulty with that is that when you do that and you're living in that high emotional state, I think it's really difficult to relax and to make the most of things and to get your head in the right space. And we've continued to find that. And it's a challenge. And I honestly think, had we not had that stuff going on, I think we'd have made even more of that weekend.
Oh, I agree. But you're absolutely right. It took me probably a full day to kind of get my head around the fact that I'd actually stepped away from all the things and I was allowed to have a break. And I think that's really important, for anyone going through something similar. Then I think, if you don't look after yourself and how are you going to look after anyone else, you need to have some respite and you need to just give yourself some downtime. And I think given that I'm in a relative state of everything's fairly stable at the moment and there's a bit of a lull in things, I thought, right, I'm safe to step away for a few days and just take some much needed rest. Not that it was restful.
No, but it was
it was a much needed change of scenery.
I think that's the truth.
And spending some time with some very dear friends and some new friends.
Yeah.
And just in another country altogether probably did me good.
I absolutely agree. I think it's difficult because it's always in the back of your mind. So it's really hard to relax. And I think, let's be honest, we had a couple of moments that weren't super easy. And I think the background of how emotional we've been feeling because of the situation at home did not make us great respondees to that stuff.
Perhaps.
But equally, I think overall it was an amazing weekend. And, I want to shout out super thanks to Kate, for that woman has fucking incredible organisational skills.
I thought you called her Cake then.
Cake. No, Kate. Kate.
Although you have got some street waffles.
I do. The reason you said cake, I think, is because we just watched Beard Moots Food with the cake, which is what Kate actually mentioned to us.
I know.
There we go. We're bringing it full circle.
So
but anyway,
matter.
If you get the chance to go to one of her events or one of our events, please do.
Watch Beard Moots Food.
All that. She did a great job. Well done, Kate. Anyways, also the guests were fantastic. They absolutely were a delight. Some of them are our closest friends and some of them are now absolutely friends to us, which has been a wonderful success as far as I'm concerned.
Had a good time.
Yeah, I do too.
I think we did. But
I think they did too.
I hope we did.
So who knows what the next thing is going to be that we're going to organise? Who knows what we're going to be involved with? Because I don't. But at certain points, I'm sure we'll figure it out.
We will do something fabulous.
I'm sure it will be.
It will be fabulous.
But we'll get to that when we come to it.
I obviously want to hold my...
balls?
No, I don't, not after that comment, no. No, I want to do the thing that I can't remember if I said before.
You've not mentioned it on the show. We can't talk about it yet.
Fine, I won't then.
Secret, top secret. Sorry,
yes,
listeners.
I'll keep it a secret.
Apologies.
Fine.
But she's teasing you
I
once more.
I did tease you then, didn't I?
Flirting with you, tipping it around her tongue. or something
However,
like that.
what is not a secret is I think it's 34 days. It's my birthday.
There we go. That's happening.
Not a secret.
That's not, well, the fact that it's your birthday, you've mentioned being 50 enough times.
Quintastic.
Quintastic. Okay.
I'm not referring to 50.
Okay, quintastic. Or quimtastic.
Hey. Quintastic.
All right then. Well, do you want to do your thing then?
Yeah. Well, thank you for hopping into our bed.
When we got back in this country, we had a look at Fab.
Oh my goodness.
And then we found the Fab forums.
Why'd you do this to yourself?
Well, I made the mistake of looking.
Is this you being condescending and patronising by any chance?
This is me being condescending and patronising, apparently, to you.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me. Oh, wait, you can't. You have to leave it open the whole time.
Yeah. So some absolute dickwad slated the way that I smile, my open mouth painted in smile. It's because I look weird when I smile with my teeth together. It looks strange. I look like Fantastic Mr. Fox smiling at the wolf or whatever it is. I just look like a fucking idiot.
Well, that's just the way you smile.
Yeah. Apparently I'm very condescending towards you.
Like I say, you shut your mouth when you're talking to me. I don't know. Are you?
I don't feel like I am. I feel like we have banter.
You're just gaslighting me again.
Am I? Really? So we had that. That was a nice, fun surprise when we got back. So, yeah. But
I don't know why you read this shit.
Well, I don't know. It's difficult. And I think that I don't mind criticism, genuinely.
Everyone has an opinion. Everyone's allowed to have an opinion.
But calling me a prick, probably not the nice...
That's just personal
That's
and
just
offensive.
personal. And the face thing, that's a bit personal.
That means that's your face.
And being
I
condescending...
like sitting on it.
Well, good. I'm glad that you do.
Just so I can cover up your mouth.
Free beard rides. Exactly. You know I'm still smiling underneath all of that. But yeah, and it's one of those things that drives me mad. And I know that many of our sort of podcasting brethren and content people get a lot of stick online. And it's one of the absolute horrible downsides. And, I kind of think, well, I don't mind a bit of criticism as long as it's relevant and presented in the right way. And I don't want to be everyone's cup of tea. I don't want everyone to listen to the show because not everyone's for me.
No, I completely agree.
And I get that. But being a prick about it is an absolute dick move. So that was annoying.
I mean, I've had some, some criticism directed at me because of my inability to not glare at people and turn them to stone. So,
there we go. Well, what really made me laugh is that, so we put this in our Discord, and Lord Voldemort, bless him, came along and said, don't they know how many selfies you had to take in order to perfect that look?
74,000.
And I did some checking about how many...
oh my goodness, how many is it?
It's like 6,000 camera-facing pictures. They could be selfies of us, of me and the dog. They could be just me using the front-facing camera. But there's a lot of pictures on there. At least 1/3 of that's got to be just selfies.
Probably.
Yeah, so I might start my only spams later on. Just spam in my face. Yeah, you get a free open mouth smile with me looking like a Muppet / Fraggle. All it costs is $5.99 a month. Yours truly. So yeah, we'll do that soon, right?